I'm Pastor Samuel Kim, born in Korea. Went to the States when I was 2 years old, Korean American, ex-crack addict. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I was a crack addict previously, and I do want to address not specifically the drug issue, but there is an underlying problem that I didn't know about. After finding out about that issue, that spiritual issue, it changed everything for me. So how did I become a crack addict? I think it was in middle school. It was the first time I tried marijuana, maybe in the 8th grade. At first, it was purely just curiosity. As I got into high school, I started to get into more heavier drugs. Senior year of high school, I was addicted to crystal methamphetamine. I remember my mom driving me to the hospital, to the ER, ODing. As I got into college, I started to do ecstasy, started doing cocaine, into crack cocaine. The farther along I got into drugs, I started to face issues and problems, mentally, emotionally, physically. That was very difficult for me to talk to other people about. And even if I did talk to other people, wasn't sure if they'd understand what I was going through. Just no one to talk to, no one to tell me what's going on with me. My religious upbringing, my church upbringing taught me that all of this that was happening in my life, the suffering that I was going through, the mental, emotional affliction, spiritual affliction, the suffering was my fault. And to a certain extent, yes, I was the one doing the drugs, but no one was telling me, explaining to me what was going on. What I had learned, it's on you. So I had this downward, continuous spiral to the point where paranoia started to come in. Functioning socially was a task. Looking at people in the eye was almost impossible. Simple tasks like going to grocery shopping was difficult. School, oh my gosh, nothing was working. I couldn't talk to anyone, I couldn't look at anyone. Completely, enclosed and suffering. And then 1999, I was 24 years old at that time. My parents came back, they're missionaries in Russia. They came back and they said, Sam, let's go to church. And I was like, I really don't want to go to church, but I hadn't seen my parents in a few years, and they said, come on, go. And I was reluctant at first, but I did go with them. And once I went to that church in 1999, it changed my entire life. Going back to church, the last time I went back to church in 1999, understanding where the suffering was coming from. What I learned before about my relationship with God, it being about what I had to do for Him, and then if I do something for Him, He does something for me. If I break rules or things that He doesn't want me to do, then I'm gonna get punishment for that. That was the kind of frame that I had and the fear that I had. But no one was addressing why I was suffering the way I was. The pastor opening up the book of Genesis, explaining to me where the root of these problems came from, that was the thing that I needed to hear to understand why I was suffering mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I didn't know that I was created as a spiritual being. And this was a very important realization for me to understand, because the thing that I saw was, the only thing that I saw was the drugs. I thought that was the problem. I thought that was the issue only, and because of that, that's why I was suffering. And so I was trying so hard to stop, I was trying so hard to change that, but it wasn't working. It wasn't working. The issue, the problem is so much more deeper than that. It's a spiritual issue, it's a spiritual problem, and you have a spiritual enemy. Before, my understanding of Satan, my understanding of darkness was purely just in my mind, just a figment of my imagination, my conscience, so to speak. The white angel, the black angel, on each side saying, oh, black angel saying, do it, you want to. And the good angel saying, no, don't do it, it's bad. That was my image of spiritual truth, and spiritual reality was just in my mind. But for the first time, looking at the Bible, the pastor was explaining to me, no, there is a spiritual reality, there's a spiritual truth. There is an enemy, his name is Satan. And then the problem that you have is not only your enemy, It's a spiritual issue. It's a spiritual problem that you can't solve. And then he presented the gospel to me, which made it so much more sweeter and so much more for me to understand, because originally I thought the gospel was just my ticket to heaven. Here's the gospel. Jesus died for you on the cross for your sins. So what? So you can go to heaven and not go to hell. And I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't want to go to hell. Who wants to go to hell? So I believed in Jesus because I wanted to go to heaven. It had nothing to do with my everyday life, had nothing to do with my spiritual suffering, had no power to overcome Satan, to overcome my spiritual problem. It had nothing, just my ticket to heaven. But he explained to me that's not the case. Jesus came not only to die on the cross for your sin, but to destroy the work of your enemy. And this is when like light bulbs were going off in my mind. It all started to connect, like, oh my God, drugs is not the real issue. The real issue is so much more deeper. And the answer for that issue is the gospel. And when I first heard that, it liberated me from so many different things. And I believe that liberation is for everyone, but just people just don't know it. And part of my mind, I was thinking in the back of my mind, because of all of my religious upbringing, that the pastor is going to now tell me, he's going to tell me, now you have to work for God, or now you have to follow the 10 Commandments, or you have to do this. And I was waiting for him to say that, but he said something completely opposite of what I was thinking. He didn't say, okay, now you have to pay it back to God, or do this or do that. He said, Sam, now what you have to do is enjoy this gospel. Enjoy this gospel. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, enjoy because of what God has done for you on your behalf. You're a child of God. You enjoy who you are. You enjoy that I've restored that relationship with you. You enjoy your authority over the forces of darkness. And it changed my life. It changed my life completely. And I hope that that answer can come to you. Whatever suffering you're going through, not from drugs, anything, whatever it may be, emotionally, mentally, just know that there's a spiritual background. There's a spiritual problem that's going on, and there's an answer for that. And I hope you can find that through this video. I really thank you for watching the video. If you watch this video and you're going through something, any kind of suffering, affliction, whatever it is, and you have any questions, please feel free to contact us, leave a comment below. If you want to meet somebody or talk to somebody, feel free to do that down there. God bless you. We are the All Play team. See you next time.